Right, just starting a live. First in a series, Inner Alchemy series, IGTV live series. So this one's going to be about syncing the Qi, as well as keeping your consciousness and spirit elevated. So we're just getting started if anyone's just joined in. Thank you very much for joining in, much love. We just get some water and I'm just going to share this out to my broadcast channel. Background music. Well, some people say copyrights are not owned, but I do own the copyrights because it's my own song. Wet Dream Journal, how's it going? Much love, thank you very much for joining in. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for people to join in. So the topic is, so it's Inner Alchemy. Well, it's a series that I'm going to be doing. So if anybody's not so familiar with Qi-Gong and the stuff that I teach in my Qi-Gong classes and want to get some more insights into Qi-Gong, the way that I do it, the way that I understand it, the way that I understand energy, you want to learn from it, then stay tuned. Okay, much love. So let's see who else is gonna join in. So this song is "See My Energy." I'm just gonna do a bit of breath work, cultivate Qi myself. So one of the things I'm gonna be speaking about, well, Qi. It's a very tangible substance. Okay, a lot of people don't understand energy, right? Qi is a very tangible substance. That's why we do Qi-Gong. It's very, very real. And the more you practice it, the more real it is. And the idea really in Kamotion Qi-Gong is to prepare the mind and the body, and really all Qi-Gong in a nutshell, is to prepare the body and the mind. This could be through slapping, tapping, stretching techniques. Me personally in Kamotion Qi-Gong, I even bring in some yoga stretches and methods as well, okay, but mostly Qi-Gong. But the main idea is to prepare the body, open up the channels, okay? So before Qi is cultivated, we always open up the channels first, right? So there is something called the sinew channels, okay? Many people are familiar with the meridians, okay? But the sinew channels surround basically your muscles, okay? So there's a space in between your muscles and the bones. It's not empty, okay? There's the sinew channels, okay? And there's something called the huang, which is, I suppose, your internal fascial network, that wetsuit, internal wetsuit, right? Membrane. That soaks in Qi. So we have to prepare the inside of the body to absorb Qi properly. So number one is always preparation, okay? So preparing the body and the mind, okay? Because we have to get into a certain state of mind where the quality of practice is at a certain standard, because how well your mind connects with the energy will define how well, not only that, how well you connect with the energy, okay, but the connection actually determines whether you cultivate the energy or not. So that the mind to energy connection is absolutely critical when it comes to step 2, which is cultivating the Qi. And this can be done with a lot of static exercises, okay? Just standing like a tree, a tree can just be still. It can absorb energy, right? Zhan Zhuang techniques, okay? So there's a lot of techniques that I teach, okay? I know hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of techniques, but you have to condense. It's not about more techniques. It's always about quality of practice, okay? So preparation, if you don't prepare properly and you don't open up the channels properly, it can completely ruin the cultivation stage. So preparation, it can be as simple as slapping, tapping, right? So I do that now if anybody wants to join in. So slapping, tapping is very, very simple. It just gets your well, blood flow is very, very important in Qigong, okay? Getting your blood flow going, right? So Qi is very closely connected to blood. It's not blood, right? But it's very closely connected to blood. So stimulating our blood flow is important, right? We don't want stagnant blood flow. We want to have our blood pumping and regulated to some extent, even before cultivating Qi. So just by slapping, tapping, and performing what is more of a self-massage, we basically open up our channels. We open up the riverbeds of Qi, the sinew channels as well. Okay. This makes us much more receptive to absorbing the energy, right? So the energy, it's not just from breath, okay? We get energy in many, many different shapes and forms. So we have terrestrial Qi, we have heavenly Qi, okay? Terrestrial Qi, I suppose, is anything from this world, right? From the earth. So this would be the energy, the electromagnetic energy that surrounds us in all this empty space. That's earthly terrestrial Qi as well. The breath that we breathe is terrestrial Qi. The food that we eat, terrestrial Qi. Okay, nutrition, drink, what we drink, water is Qi, an absolutely essential, important type of Qi as well, right? So yeah, we are also made up of the elements: fire, water, air. We also have spirit as well. So we have different element systems, right? So just to clarify that first, we have more of the, I suppose, Taoist alchemical systems, which would actually be fire, wood, metal included as well, water, as well as earth, right? So what we have in the Hermetic system, and I suppose the Wicca systems, is the fire, the water, the air, the earth, and spirit, right? So basically that elemental makeup is in all of us, right? So, many of us, we will have fire energy and water energy, right? Those are the main ones. That is how the yin-yang energy often shows up in us, as I have fire or water, okay? So we basically put water in the category of a yin energy and fire as a category of yang energy. So in terms of your channels, okay, there's two main channels, okay? There's lots of different meridian channels, okay? I mean, there's 12 that I suppose the Chinese medical system will go more into. You need to understand firstly that the Chinese medical Qigong system is not exactly the same, okay? It does overlap with the kind of practice that we do, but it's not the same. Okay, so the 8 extraordinary meridians, I suppose, are more important for the kind of work we do with Qigong and cultivating Qi. And 2 of the main ones, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but 2 of the main ones are going to be the Do-My meridian that goes up the back of the spine, okay, right in the center of the back of the spine. That's the governing vessel for the whole body, right? The governing energy channel. And that's yang, and it's actually fire, okay, that goes up that channel. Now, at the front here, we have the Renmai meridian, and that is a yin channel, water channel. What we do have more, okay, but that's one that many people do work with in Qigong because, the microcosmic orbit relies on that, for example. But, that is functioning in everyone. It just can be enhanced, right? It has a cyclical flow of rising and falling energy. What people are very good at is, and it's happening all the time, is increasing the flow of the energy upwards, right? Now, a lot of people understand that the increasing the energy of the flow upwards is important, especially when it comes to like awakening, Kundalini awakening. But what a lot of people don't realize is actually after awakening, and after Kundalini awakening especially, now you should be learning this before that, okay? But I do find a lot of people go through their awakening and don't actually understand how the energy works in the body, and then they struggle with being overly emotional and having too much energy in the mind, so they're overthinking all the time. And this is all down to an imbalance of energy too much energy going here into the middle dantian, and too much energy going to the upper dantian. So 3 main dantians in Qigong system, okay? And I'm trying to go for a lot of different things that make up Kamotion Qi-Gong and Qigong in general in a short period of time, but just giving you some insights if you're all new to it, you know. I would recommend you take time to check out the Kamotion Qi-Gong commune. Go to the mindandmatter.com. There's a whole class on there that you can watch, which is over an hour and a half long. But I do weekly classes where I teach this, and we do practice every week in Zoom classes. And there's over 100 hours of pre-recorded classes I've already done since we launched in April last year. So if this is all new to you, it can be overwhelming, but I'm trying to break it down, okay? But the main thing is, right, that we prepare the body, prepare the mind, then we focus on cultivation. Most of our practice is in cultivation. Now, there's lots of different techniques to cultivate Qi and absorb the Qi into the membranes, into the body, right? So Qi is a very tangible substance, just like, you know, blood is a very real thing, right? Just like your cells are a very real thing. So with Qigong practice, people feel it within the first session when they do the practice properly, right? So, just slapping and tapping, as I said, will get your Qi flowing, okay? And a lot of people can just start to get their mind connected with energy just by simply just doing this, okay? And taking deep breaths in and out. You want to slap and tap the whole body. So the idea is to connect your mind and your consciousness with everywhere you are tapping. Okay, I mean, even just doing this properly makes a big difference, because anyone can just tap their body. Okay, it doesn't take a genius to do that. But how well you do it can define how well the rest of your practice goes. Because I know we do this as a preparation technique in Kamotion Qi-Gong classes, slap and tap. Right, a lot of people just do it. Slapping and tapping, just preparation. I don't have to do it properly. It's like going to the gym and saying, okay, well, I don't have to stretch properly because it's not really the workout. And that's like a really stupid way to think. That's how people get injured. This is how people, do hurt themselves when they do energy work, right? Because they don't prepare properly. People just think, just go into energy work. No, it's like a workout. You got to prepare the vessel before the energy starts flowing, right? Before you start bringing in the energy. I mean, actually, if you don't prepare properly, it'll make the difference whether you bring in the energy or not. Whether you start cultivating or not, right? So, just start getting your mind, as I say, prepare the mind and the body. Not just prepare the body, but preparing the mind as well. So as soon as you start practice, for example, Kamotion Qi-Gong, I was about to do some breathwork when I started this and I didn't do it, because it's important to understand that, there is slapping and tapping, preparation, some gentle stretches, and there's a lot of exercise that I teach them in the Kamotion Qi-Gong classes, but I don't want to overwhelm anyone here, because most people are not from the commune. I know when they come to these lives, people from the commune, you know what we do, right? Some people have been there right from the beginning, since the beginning of last year in April, when I started the commune, where we started the Qigong classes. Now, but one of the most important things I always try to put across is prepare properly, right? Prepare not only your body, but your mind too, right? It's like, if I'm going to go for a workout at the gym, I really want to get my mind in the right place, so I can really get the most out of that practice, that workout. Because in a sense, Qigong is like, you got to approach it like that. I'm going to have a workout, but it's an internal workout, right? So, I do internal and external martial arts, right? Internal arts is more the Qigong. Now, the external would be the Kung Fu and everything else that I've done, karate, boxing, Krav Maga, over 38 years, I've done many different martial arts. But that's the external. That's like when you use the energy. Now, the energy is not only used in martial arts, okay? I use it in forms of writing books, right? Teaching, creating my posts and reels and everything else, right? It basically fuels my creativity. So Qi is a creative force, because God is creative force. So God is a creative force. You're tapping into Qi, which is the life force, the force of God, right? It gives life. It creates life. So you're tapping into Qi. It's when you cultivate it, we only focus on cultivation, because the Qi, because step 3 is when the Qi mobilizes you, right? So as I said, you know, we can prepare, stretch, slap, tap. You know, I do knocking. Sometimes we go quite hard with the preparation. Now, opening up the channels is important. Preparing the body properly. If you want to know how to do it properly, join the classes, right? Preparing the body is absolutely essential. But when it comes to cultivation, you don't necessarily, because a lot of people think Qigong is about movement, and it's not. Actually, most of the Qi is cultivated when we're not moving. You know, you can simply stand there like a tree. A popular method is Zhan Zhuang, right? Spelled Z-H-A-N, Z-H-A-U-N-G, Zhan Zhuang. Now that, just standing, where there's a pose we use in Qigong called the Wuji pose. Now Wuji is a very important concept because Wuji is considered like what precedes form, the yin and yang, the Tai Chi, right? So we got the Tao, then we got the Wuji, like a primordial state of consciousness, right? So that state of consciousness is something we need to embody before we engage with energy, because energy takes the form of the yin and the yang, right? Now the yin energy has a very tangible feel, it's very magnetic. The yang energy has a very tangible feel, it's very electrical, right? So we have electromagnetic. The yin is the magnetic, the yang is the electro. They together create this electromagnetic energy, bioelectromagnetic energy in terms of science. So science calls it bioelectromagnetic energy, which is basically the same thing as Qi. So it's actually an absolutely real thing. Now we feel this vibrate through our Huang in the body, through the membranes in our body. We actually feel it. Just like I can feel my hand stroke my body like this. Now, if you slap and tap your body and you do it properly, now we do the top of the head, all over the head, the whole face, the ears, you know, we rub the ears, rub the face as well. So we do a proper whole body self-massage in terms of preparation for Qigong in my classes, okay? But slap tap the whole, from your feet up, right? Your legs, everything, right? Everything, slap tap properly. And you really want to put your whole mind into it, okay? It might seem like a very, very simple thing to do, but you just want to, I was just checking something there, just checking, make sure the heating went on. Because when the thing is, when you do Qigong, right, one of the things that you'll find with Qigong, Qi has very, as I said, tangible feelings. It's actually called the Ba Chu, the 8 touches in Qigong, right? So I've shared it on my page before. If you're not familiar with them, have a look for it on my profile, you'll see them, right? But basically, all the different sensations of Qi that you will experience as you practice Qigong and Nigong, which I bring into Kamotion Qi-Gong, right? So you will feel it all, right? Now, what the magnetic yin energy does, that field, it allows this yang energy to pass through it. Now, yang energy is connected to your intention. Yin energy is connected to your attention and your awareness. So whenever you hold attention and awareness in mind, you'll be connected more to yin, because you're allowing, receiving. That's the divine feminine energy. It allows, it receives, you're in yin. So yin is a state of mind and yang is a state of mind. It's not just energy. So you need to understand yin and yang as a state of mind. Am I in yin? Am I in yang? Because when you hold intention, you are putting energy into something, so it becomes yang. So when you do Qigong and you put your intention into something, you can spark the yang electrical energy. Now, if you want to build a container and a pathway for that electrical energy to flow down and through internally, you know, everything is done internally, in the body first, in Qigong, before we go out of body. Now, most people want to bring the energy up and then go out of body. That's okay. We do need that for awakening and getting out of body, but it needs to be done in the right way, because getting out of body is one thing, but being very grounded and present in this body before you leave it is absolutely essential. And a lot of people are so impatient with getting out of body. They're so in a rush to get out of here actually a lot of people struggle because when they actually go through their awakening, like a Kundalini awakening, you hear about spontaneous Kundalini awakening, people struggle. Why? Because they don't know how to get their energy back down. Because they didn't know in the first place how to be fully present here in the first place with the energy in the body. So people struggle and become overly emotional and overthinkers after their awakening. This is an awakening symptom for many. They become overthinkers and overfeelers, over-empathetic, overly emotional. That's not healthy. Now, a spiritual awakening can lead to unhealthy changes in the body if not managed correctly. Right? This is why it's essential, I believe, in this day and age, with people going through awakenings and having Kundalini awakenings, understanding that, yoga stresses the importance of raising energy a lot, right? And going through the chakras. And a lot of people think this is about going up. This is exactly where the delusion happens. And a lot of people struggle because they all think it's about bringing the energy up. No, it's not. It's about bringing your consciousness and your spirit up and keeping your energy down. That's where people go wrong. They let their energy go with their spirit and consciousness up, which actually is what happens when you have your Kundalini awakening. Yes, your Qi goes up. It shoots off like a rocket with the Shen, the spirit. You leave the body. Your Qi has left the launch pad and is gone with the soul, with the spirit. That's what happens in an awakening. Now, most people get the awakening and it's all great, right? When it's happening, okay? But what people struggle with is getting back to reality. Coming back to earth. Right? And this is because they haven't practiced sinking the Qi and keeping their Qi. And a lot of people talk about grounding. Why is grounding such an important thing? Now, it's not just in terms of grounding, take your shoes and your socks off and go for a walk on the fucking grass. No, ground your mind on this fucking planet. Your mind. Ground your mind here, right? And Qigong is very, very simple, right? We have 3 main energetic centers, okay? Now the chakras are different. They awaken through consciousness, okay? They are conscious gateways. Gateways for consciousness, meaning they awaken as your consciousness awakens. Meaning as you continue your spiritual work, they awaken themselves. You don't need to do anything on the chakras and like try to wake them up. No, you don't need to, okay? All your lower chakras are nurtured by putting your energy in the lower dantian. Your lower dantian, when you was an embryo, okay, does everybody remember what you looked like when you was an embryo? Probably not. Okay, but you look like that. So every single one of you looked like this at some point in your life. I don't care what you look like now. At some point in your life, you was that. Before you was this, what was you? What was you before you was that? Well, another thing, where are you when you then become this in this sack in your mother's belly, right? And you have this cord, the umbilical cord, feeding you here through the navel. What? Your first taste of a life force, your first taste of Qi came here. And where was your mother holding you? Here. It's very simple when you think. This is a very important place. It's also the center of the body. The center of a lot of people think we'll talk about the heart. If you stay in the heart too long, you will become overly emotional. That's why a lot of people get, oh yeah, I'll get into the heart. Get out of the mind in the heart. Yes, that is the next step. But it's not the final step. Okay, you need to go from head to heart down here. This is where your mind needs to rest, where you will find peace and balance. This is why actually all the concentration, even for Kundalini awakening and activation done correctly, is all the concentration of the energy down here. It awakens itself. You don't bring it up. You keep the energy down. The Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha that unlocks here around the solar plexus, the Mula Bandha at the root. It's all from keeping the energy down here. The energy, Qi, has intelligence. It's a divine intelligence. You don't need to tell it what to do. You only need to cultivate it. It's just like, you know, your parents only needed to have sex. They didn't need to have to get involved every day with the baby in the stomach during those 9 months. It's been done. The transformation has started. Now your mother nurtures you here, nourishes you, feeds you, what? Prenatal Qi until you are born. And then you come out, now you need postnatal Qi. The postnatal Qi comes from nutrition, food, drink, breath. Now, everybody has Jing essence, a physical essence, which is housed here in your lower dantian, connected to your kidneys. Now, traditional Chinese medicinal Qi-Gong with acupuncture and everything will treat a lot of the time conditions with the kidneys because the kidneys are considered the root of the life force and vitality for all the organs in the whole body, right? The 5 main organs, right? Your lungs, the spleen, the heart, the liver, and the kidneys. Now, whilst they hold Qi as well, the most important Qi that we hold is we absorb it through the riverbeds of the Qi when we can just stand like a tree like this, for example, in Zhanzhuang. We need to keep our mind in the body. That's absolutely important, essential, right? That's why it's called internal art. That's why it's called inner alchemy. You got to get the mind in the body, because a lot of people I teach want to get out the body. Now, we use the middle dantian and this energy center to go into the 4th dimensional and outer body. And I teach people how to do that. And I do teach people how to ascend in consciousness and go into soul star chakra and 7 chakras above the head. Yeah, that requires energy going upwards, but only when that energy is ready. It's like planting a flower, right? You don't start that. You haven't got a flower. Remember first, right? When you begin, you haven't got a flower. You haven't even. You've just got the plant pot and the soil and the seeds. It starts at the base. The branches you see, the leaves and the flowers. That's the fruits of nourishing all this properly down here. Now, a lot of people do practices like trying to activate the third eye by focusing on the third eye. It kind of works, but it's not necessary, because your third eye is not about being aware of this. It's about bringing your consciousness everywhere, right? So your third eye will awaken by keeping your attention on your belly, because you have an expanded awareness, right? Your mind can go anywhere. Your consciousness can go anywhere, can follow. This is why the hands are very, very important, because the mind can easily follow the consciousness of the hands. So simply put in the hands, the lower dantian, by the way, the real place for the lower dantian is in the abdomen. Okay, a lot of people get Ren 6 or Ren 4 points here below the navel. And those are not the real dantian. That's the false dantian. The real dantian is actually above the perineum in the center here. So the real dantian is there. Now we need to engage our mind with that area there. Okay. As I said, when you was an embryo in your mother's belly, right, you got your prenatal Qi here, umbilical cord, right? Inside, it's not actually right there on the belly button, because you don't want to cultivate Qi on the front of your belly here, okay? You want to cultivate Qi inside, okay? Now, this acts like a additional battery, additional, it's an incubator. I like to think of it more of an incubator for Qi energy, okay? Because it nourishes Qi. So if just by simply standing in Wuji pose, now Wuji pose is a slight bend in the knees, feet roughly around shoulder width apart. I've got some posts on Wuji pose if you don't know how to do it correctly. Loads in the commune, in the private commune, posts on it, classes on it, okay? So, I mean, getting it right is important, okay? But you do want to stand where, you don't want to stand upright like in a normal sort of leg straight. You want to bend your knees. You don't want to squat, you just want to sit, okay? And we call it sitting into the Qi. So the Qi is this area here in the middle. You get this like sort of V shape here. We just simply let go of the legs, and we want to keep the head up, okay? So this opens up the bones, the spinal column. So we have this phrase saying in Qigong, bones up, flesh down, or muscles, hang the muscles off the bones is another way. So when we stand like a tree, we don't want to be standing there with tension. We want to be relaxed, okay? Making sure that we can soak in the energy into the channels. Okay, it's the relaxed allowing, you know, we say be like water. When we let go and we relax and we allow, we can absorb Qi. If I'm going, like, if I'm pushing out, now if I'm allowing and I'm breathing in, just bringing my attention to that energy and the breath. Now I will feel that energy here in between my hands, my whole body, especially if I've done the slapping, the tapping, prepared properly, because even that, you'll start feeling the Qi flowing, right? So that prepares the mind to connect with the body, prepares the mind to connect with the Qi. You know, that's why I would say preparing the mind and body. Just simply doing a few preparation techniques can change what this feels like as soon as you go into this position, right? So I normally say to people, like, there's an analogy, which I say like a pearl necklace analogy. Okay, so the way you want to hold your body, because there is a right way to hold a body to cultivate Qi. The kind of body we try to build in Qigong is very different to, say, you know, now I've done karate, boxing, Wing Chun, Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do, Krav Maga, Tai Chi, Qigong. Okay, I've done some bodybuilding. I've even done powerlifting. That's how I fucked up my spine 9 years ago. Okay, I went against what the Qigong instructor said. They said, don't mix powerlifting with Qigong. And I did. And I fucked my spine up and I slipped a disc in my spine. So, you know, that is what happens when you go against what your teachers teach you. Right, so, you know, the idea is to create a quite soft, subtle body, but, you know, basically absorbs Qi, can hold on to Qi. Now, if we hold tension in the body, we're not allowing, we're not going to receive, right? It's like, you know, the empty cup and the full cup kind of thing, you know. As soon as you hold tension and you start to lose awareness, your energy is going. So if you can hold your awareness and your attention, even just in one place in the body, and this is why we start with the lower dantian, because yeah, we do move the mind to many different places in the body. We do a microcosmic orbit, we move it all the way up the back of the spine, all the way back down the front. We do a macrocosmic orbit, we do out of body, we go into chakras outside the body. Yeah, we do. But we have to start with being able to get the mind properly to one place before we start taking it other places, before we start taking it on a journey. Right? And a lot of people are impatient with this first step. And I find that with students, they're impatient with getting their mind correctly in one place before they start taking it on a journey. And this can make the massive difference to the rest of your practice and how well you feel anything really moving forward, how well the quality of Qi is. Now that is determined by quality of body, mind and energy. Okay, all of them. Okay, you need some water. So that's why we say prepare the mind, prepare the body, then cultivate. Okay, now cultivation, as I was saying, the analogy of the pearl necklace, we want to, like, imagine the pearl necklace. I forgot to finish talking about that. So imagine a pearl necklace, you're holding one pearl, and that one pearl is my head, I'm holding it. The rest of the pearl necklace is dangling down, and the weight of that necklace. and all the other pearls. So the rest of my body is the rest of the necklace and all the other pearls, right? But my head is the one pearl I'm holding on to. So when we stand in Wuji, so if you stand like a normal, with straight legs, erect, normal, okay, you'll be like this. But what you want to do is hold your head, then let go of the rest of your body, but try to sort of hold your head up. This also anchors the idea of keeping consciousness and Shen up, because the upper Dantian in Qigong is connected to Shen spirit, right? So this is about consciousness, right? This is a center for imagination, for thinking. This is where the energy goes, right? Quite naturally, it will feed this center. What we don't need to do is bring the energy up here. That's when people start having problems, because they start to pull up the energy into the brain center and it overfuels it. And then they have overthinking. That's how people go wrong with energy work. Right? The other thing is people keep talking about the heart center, middle dantian. So they keep bringing the energy here. Now, if you keep bringing the energy here and don't bring it here more than anything else, you're fucking up your energy system and the way it's supposed to function. So, just be wary. If you do practices, follow people that are telling you to bring the energy here and here, more than here, be aware you're getting your energy imbalance. Your center of gravity is not here. This is not the center of my body. This is not the center of my body. This is. Center of gravity needs to go from here, because quite naturally, most human beings, center of gravity has gone to here. The heart center. Naturally, it's gone to here because they've become overly emotional. How? Because what are most people fueled by? Fear, doubt. What's been peddled to people? What have most people been molded into? Emotional people. Because of fear. Fear and doubt holds everyone back. And how they got you is by keeping your energy here. Overfeelers. Now I used to say this, right? Overthinkers, we need to think less and feel more. Yes, we do. But even more importantly, we need to think less, feel more, but manage how we fucking feel. Right? So, you can feel more, but not have any control over it. The problem isn't thinking. The problem isn't feeling. It's the lack of control of your feelings and your thinking. Why is that happening? Well, it's the topic of today. The importance of sinking Qi. But keeping your spirit and consciousness elevated. So most people, what happens with, for example, Kundalini awakening, we go through those 7 chakras, we bust through, meet the soul star chakra. Now for me, I teach other chakras, Akashic records of chakra 9, 10th chakra, God consciousness realm, 11th chakra, a state of nirvana, 12th heaven, right? 13th cosmic intelligence, 14th celestial realms, right? So that's me, my personal experience of Kundalini awakening. But one of the most important things I had to remember is I had to anchor my body back down. Because it's almost like this triangle flips around after awakening. Your mind and your body is rooted to earth and you're in the worldly realm and your spirit is up here. Then all of a sudden, awakening happens and it's flipped. Your mind and your spirit is up here and your body's still left down there. And most people stay in this quite an unhealthy state where their mind and their soul stays up here in a sense. But that's okay. Okay, the mind and the soul is okay up here. Okay, this is what I want to get to. But it's when the energy stays with that and it leaves the body down here and the physical. And remember, because you're in the physical realm, this is where you need to bring all that knowledge, that wisdom, everything about your weight needs to be grounded here. That's the whole point of it, right? So this this, you can keep your mind and your Shen, your spirit up, right? But keep that Qi grounded with the physical. This is why we do grounding, right? But you don't necessarily have to go for a walk with your feet, on the grass. You can simply stand in this Wuji pose, as I said, okay? With the, bones up, flesh down. Again, you should have a grounded feeling. Your Qi should feel, I'm stuck to the ground. I'm down. I'm grounded. Right? So you actually embody grounded. Now, and actually in Qigong, we prefer to use the word rooting or get rooted. Because if you think about a tree, it's not think about a tree, it's not just on the ground. We're talking about being grounded like properly like a tree. It is under the ground. That's the most important thing. What's under the ground? The roots. So we're talking about being rooted, right, to the earth. Now, if you remain rooted to the earth, your mind, your consciousness can go elsewhere, but you always remember where to come back to, right? And this is about bringing this into balance, right? Now, many people have heard of the anima, animus, right? Latin words, anima, animus. Now, anima actually means the soul. Animus, the mind. Now, and actually in Jungian psychology and stuff that I wrote about in my book, Awakening the Dreamer Within, we have anima and animus as in the yin yang in terms of the feminine and masculine in terms of our psyche. So we have the anima, which is the masculine, I suppose, which is so we have with the anima, which is the soul, which is the feminine, right? And then we have the animus, which is the mind, which is more masculine. So we see actually the soul as more feminine and the mind as more masculine in a sense, right? So, and that's in all human beings, right? The mind is connected to the soul, connected to energy, connected to spirit, it's connected to the body. So it's an absolutely essential part of everything. Hermetic principles, number one principle. I've wrote a book a free ebook. It's available on the mindandmatter.com if you want to read about the 7 Hermetic principles. But number one is all is mind, right? So a lot of people get into energy work and for some reason they forget about the importance of mind, right? The mind has to get connected with the energy, right? The mind has to connect with the energy properly. And as I was saying, you can do all sorts of funky techniques and moves and stuff with Qi, okay? People see me do, there's the Qi ball, there's moving techniques. But remember, in Qigong, movement doesn't come until Qi has been cultivated. Whereas a lot of people think Qigong is about the movement. It's not. Qigong is more about preparing the mind and the body first, cultivating the Qi. When that Qi has been cultivated, as I said, like in the lower Dantian, you just simply stand like a tree. A tree can be still and it can grow, it can outlive a human being. Never move. Right? Never move. It just stays there. It's given everything. The sun, the energy from the sun, the moon, the air, right? It's given everything. It gives us air as well in return. Right? So, the tree is such a great metaphor, right? It's such a simple exercise and people really, really underestimate the power of just standing like a tree. Now, there's many different positions we can do it in, okay? We got one where the arms are just to the side here. Again, Wuji stance with the legs, there's a little bend in the knees, right? Yeah, everything has to be relaxed, right? Okay, in Wuji, you don't want to be holding any tension. So, we can hold our hands towards the lower dantian, so pointing inwards into the body. Now, there's a point on the palm of your hands called the Lao Gong point. If you don't know where it is, if you put your hand into like a fist, where your middle finger meets, about there, if you push it in there, that's your Lao Gong point. That's the most receptive point to energy on your hands, other than your fingers, okay? But it's the most receptive point, not only for bringing in energy, drawing energy in, but also emitting energy when you know, you get to that point. So one thing that you can do just to start activating this area and building sensitivity, the Qi in your hands, is to just rub this point there. And you can actually push your thumb in there and you'll find it actually goes in. There'll be a little dip there. And that's where you want to get it. Remember, you can just get the middle finger there, and where that sits, that's where you got your Lao Gong point. Okay, and I just say to my students to just rub that, you know, clockwise or anti-clockwise, it doesn't matter, 10 to 20 times in a circular motion, but push down a little bit, add a bit of pressure. Okay, and rubbing the hands together like this really helps activate the hands. And why the hands are important? Because we use the hands as human beings to feel everything. I want to feel someone's face, I use my hands. I want to feel, you know, I like those spiritual trainers. I feel them with my hand, I pick them up. Right? We feel with our hands. So common sense, right? We don't feel with our ears, we don't feel with our nose, we don't really feel with our feet, we don't feel with our elbows. We use our fucking hands. So, you know, common sense, you know, seems to go out the window for a lot of people. So Qigong, I like to bring it back. Common sense, we feel with our hands. So let's use our hands, right? So we want to feel energy, let's use what we normally use, our hands. They're really good at feeling things. So here's the important thing in Qigong, right? Is that, you know, this connection with the internal membranes in the body, the Lao Gong points are really, really hugely connected to this, right? So there's this area in Qigong where we have this area here. It's like a box. It basically goes from your lower dantian up here to the upper part of your chest here. And this area here, that's why most movements here in Qigong will affect the inside of your body. So this is not about actually working with the energy outside the body when you're doing this. This is actually affecting the energy inside the body. So whenever you see me doing this kind of stuff, I'm not necessarily working with energy outside of my body. I'm actually manipulating energy inside my body, because everywhere my hands go, that huang, that internal membrane, stretches with the tugging, pulling, releasing, letting go, the yin yang ebb and flow, right? Like the tides of the ocean. The internal body moves with it, okay? But that has to be prepared. Okay, I always tell people, my students, don't try to move like me, and we actually don't do a lot of moving techniques, because actually the movements really sort of happen by themselves. Because what happens is when Qi is cultivated, it starts to animate you, right? So this is why I was talking about the anima, animus, okay, Latin words, right? The soul and the mind. Actually, when the soul and the mind comes together, anima, animus, funny enough the words, right? It's a bit like animate. The Qi and the spirit, Shen, animates you, your body. So the reason we cultivate Qi is not just to heal mind, body and spirit, to get balance. We cultivate it because it is the divine life force of God. It is the life force energy that gives life to everything. If we actually cultivate it, it's like prayer and meditation and exercise all in one, right? So for me, it's the way I connect with God. But, you know, some people believe in God, some people have faith in God. Qigong is a way to know God, because it's actually absolutely very real and you can feel it. So when Qi vibrates through your internal membranes in the body, right, it feels, you know, like when you get a drum and you hit the drum and then sound vibrates along the skin, along the drum skin. That's what Qi feels like. So Qi, there are very real, tangible sensations. Okay, as I said, there's 8 ones that are globally recognized as the Ba Chu, the 8 touches of Qigong. Okay, there are sensations of Yin Qi, sensations of Yang Qi, there's sensations of water. So water feels like something. Water feels heavy, right? Funny enough. Fire feels like something. Fire feels warm, funny enough, right? So fire energy feels like something. Now fire, if there's too much fire, it feels like extreme heat. So you need to know what's the difference between too much fire and too much water. Like if you have too much water or too much yin, you'll be lazy. You'll feel too heavy. So this is where you need to understand, am I too heavy? Am I too light? Have I got too much water? Have I got too much fire? Am I too much yin? Am I too much yang? This all becomes a matter of bringing your mind in the body and understanding what's going on with my energy. Right? So, you know, do not underestimate the importance of simply like doing some of these static techniques. Because they are some of the most important that I teach. And Qi-Gong is like, just like stand like a tree, right? Just stand in the right Wuji pose and bring your mind's attention to the energy. Bring your mind's attention to full body consciousness. Get your consciousness out of here. Get your consciousness out of here. Get it connected to your whole body, but grounded here. This is where it needs to be anchored. So in Qigong, why do we bring the mind here all the time? A lot of the practices that I do, first thing I do is I say Wuji posture, right? Prepare, right? Prepare the body and mind first. But part of the preparation is also, as soon as we go into Wuji pose, which is this pose that I'm talking about, as soon as we go into, we need to take on the primordial state of consciousness of the creator. That's what I'm talking about. The right state of mind. Before creation happened, before the yin and yang even took form, before, now the way I break down the body is one side is yin, one side is yang. Okay, left to the right. Okay, now basically it's different in everyone. Basically, if you're ambidextrous, okay, your yin side is left and your yang side is right. Now, if you're left-handed, then your yang side is actually your left, right? But if you're like me, right-handed, your yang side, my more dominant side is my yang side, basically. So my naturally more dominant side of the body is my more yang, so that's right. So actually in a lot of movements, my yang will lead and my yin will often follow. And that quite naturally happens because that's how Qi moves. Now, I don't choose that. That's, what you've got to understand is Qi doesn't just mobilize the body in terms of your movements after cultivation. It mobilizes your mind. So when I was saying Qi, no, I don't, Simon Storm. No, we'll ignore that guy. So, okay, so I had a comment there. Oh, I'm so full of water. It's not depression. Well, depression is a state of mind, right? I'm someone that is actually labeled as depressive, right? Someone with depressive disorder, okay? So what I did personally to get out of depression, firstly, is get moving, okay? One of the things, what you need to understand is a lot of the answers is in what you don't want to do. So a lot of the time, someone that's depressed, when I was going through depression, didn't want to wake up early, didn't want to really do anything, lack motivation. So you got to do what you don't like, and as hard as that seems, okay? Get help if you need to, okay? When someone's really depressed and they're suicidal, it can be hard to just get out of bed. So I will always, it's always a matter of where you are, okay? But initially I always say just get moving, like go for a walk, okay? Connect with nature. These are lifestyle tips that I recommend to people, especially when they're suffering depression. Firstly, get a bit of normality, you know? Start feeling a bit alive, right? You know, before you even think about energy work and cultivating Qi and bringing in more Qi. You know, the Qi-Gong technique, just slapping, tap. Wake up in the morning, get your ass up and slap and tap. That will get you up, right? You know, you just need to kick up the backside sometimes when you're depressed. Okay, unfortunately. I know I did when, you know, I personally did need a little bit of a kick up the backside. Sometimes you need it, right? So, you know, if you haven't got anyone to do that for you, just give yourself a kick. You know, the slapping and tapping, slap yourself harder, right? Make sure you slap the depression out yourself. Get moving, right? Now, depression is an illness, right? Okay, naturally people with depression, you know, consider that they can quite easily fall back into it, okay? That's why it's important to stay disciplined with your practices, okay? Especially when you know what depression feels like. Now, I had suicidal thoughts when I was a depressive, right? So I know how dark it can be. But I also know how to get out of it. So one of the things that you'll find will happen when you understand your energy and you understand you are the master of it, it is not the master of you, right? Once you've taken control a few times, you can keep taking control. So you just need to take control in a very simple way, like get your fucking ass up and go for a walk. You know, I don't give people that are depressed loads of exercises. Okay? They just need to get up early and go for a walk. That's it. You can't do that. Don't even think about any more exercises. Right? Because there's no point giving someone that's depressed loads of things to do because they find it hard enough to get up in the morning. Right? So, you know, it all depends on where you're at, right? Now, when somebody's the other way around, like, you know, it's too much Qi flowing up, okay? Now, when someone's, but, you know, depression, sadness is an emotional thing as well. You know, he's talking about reviewing how your energy is, right? Now, overthinking and overfeeling, however, can be a source to what's underlying that depression. You know, underlying, because, you know, you can go for a walk and you feel better that day, but it might not necessarily get rid of the source, the underlying. You know, you get your Qi flowing, you can start thinking a bit better, get a bit of mental clarity going, right? Yeah. First things first, you know, get moving. You know, it's always a good idea to get some energy in motion first before you try to understand it, right? This is what I always say to people, you know, if you're depressed, don't go into your mind and meditate. Don't sit there and try to meditate. You're going to find madness. Get away from your mind first. Then come back. Right? So, actually, with Qigong, one of the things you'll find will happen by bringing your mind and your attention into the lower dantian, because the energy is pulled away from your brain and is pulled away from your heart center, as you keep sinking that energy down and you keep anchoring the mind and the energy here, you will find that it feeds your mind less, so you think less. Okay, because you think less in general, that would also mean less negative thinking as well, right? But also negative emotions. Now, negative emotions are going to be still connected to your energetic center, your feeling center, the middle dantian. So whether the negative or positive feelings, it still comes from here. So any feelings, they have energy behind it, and it always comes from it. Any thinking has energy behind it, and it always comes from it. Where does that energy come from? Always from down here. It always comes from here and then up. It naturally rises up. So you don't need to practice really bringing your energy up. It naturally rises. It naturally feeds these centers. Most people need to practice bringing their energy down so they feel in control of it. So that you actually witness and observe the energy feeding your emotions. You witness and observe it feeding your imagination. Or you release it. Like a lot of the time, what I like to do is keep my Qi down here. All right, I need some imagination, or I need some creativity, or I need a little bit more inspiration. In spirit, be in the spirit. So where do I go for being inspired? Well, Shen, spirit. Here, I release the energy. I let it come here. I let it feed the center that gives me imagination. But with control. You feed your imagination center. You feed your creative center. You feed your emotional center. Because yes, you want emotions. You want to love. You want joy. So it's not about being emotionless or not thinking. Anyone that tells you the idea, the objective is to not think and not feel, run away. You do want to feel. You do want to think. But you want to think with clarity and you want to feel properly. And you want to feel the positive emotions. Love, joy. You know, but remember, a lot of these positive emotions do come from living, right? Expressing yourself. So this is where the Qi needs to live through you. So I cultivate Qi. What do I make music, right? It influences, inspires my music. That is the source of creativity. God is a creative force. God creates life. God creates the plants, the trees, the animals, human beings. God doesn't create buildings, all right, and the man-made stuff. We're not connecting with that. We're talking about connecting with what God built, God made. Animals, great to have a connection with nature. Animals, plants, trees, every day. Because that's what we need to be much more in synchronicity with. Our divine, true inner nature, which, funny enough, is the same as nature. All right, the clue's in the word. So, you know, by just like thinking, oh, a tree is this very simple thing. It's an analogy. A tree is sustained. It has everything it needs, right? If we can just simply be and allow, like, energy doesn't take work. That's what I'm trying to get at, cultivating energy. A lot of people think it needs to be really funky techniques and methods to cultivate chi. No, you can just stand like a tree. A tree doesn't have to do a funky move to cultivate chi, right? So you can cultivate chi just by bringing your attention into the body, but deep into the body. Bring your attention deep into the body. So I always start my students with preparation, then mind deep in the body. Into the lower dantian. Right here. Take it away from here because your mind has enough practice. Your consciousness has enough practice being stuck up here. It has enough practice being here. In nearly every human being, because your energy is always rising to those centers and feeding those centers since the day you was born. You don't need to practice that. You need to bring your energy back down. That's the importance of sinking chi. Then you will be in control of it. Right? There was a great book called Breaking the Death Habit, written by Leonard Orr. And he said, Namaste, brother. He wrote, the breath. Right. So the mind and breath are the king and queen of human consciousness. The breath is the power. The mind is the director of that power. Now, I like to put it in another way because chi obviously is not just breath. You know, when we breathe in, a lot of people think, you know, chi is the oxygen that goes in your lungs. That's not chi. It's connected to chi. Breath isn't chi that we're talking about, right? You know, that's where people tend to not really connect with chi because they think, oh, the breath is the chi. No, breath connects you with chi because breath has chi in it. Breath isn't chi, right? There are many different forms of chi. We can go even in, you know, there's heavenly forms of chi. The sun, the moon, the stars, the constellations, right? Now we go into that, I go into that, and, you know, as above, so below, you know, the microcosm and the macrocosm, there's a connection, right? There's a correspondence. So what we need to understand is that flow from the heavens down here. Now in Qigong, another thing I talk about, the Sankai, 3 powers. The 3 powers. I love this 3, right? There's 3 energy centers, lower dantian, middle dantian, upper dantian. This is there's 3 bodies. Physical body, energetic body, spiritual body. When you was born, you was first a spiritual body, then you was an energetic body, then you became a physical body. Now people want to go back to source. Very simple. Reverse engineer. How did you get there? How did you get there? Qigong says it was a spiritual body, energetic body, then a physical body. So when we was an embryo in our mother's womb, we was enveloped by the energetic body and the spiritual body before it took physical form. So when we go back, it's very simple. We go from physical body to energetic body to spiritual body. Right? So we transform our physical essence, Jing, we call it in Qigong, into Qi. So by cultivating Qi, our actual very physical essence starts to transform into energy itself. Right? This is what we call alchemy. When we transform our very physical essence into energy before we die. Now this is the idea of Taoist spiritual immortality, where we transform the physical body to energy and spirit before death. Right, so Qigong goes very, very deep in that sense, you know, and this is why Kamotion Qi-Gong is a spiritual form of Qigong. It is for enlightenment, it is for transcending consciousness, it is for living with vitality and higher level of consciousness, but with balance and stillness and not losing your fucking mind. Because a lot of people that do energy work and they just allow their energies to keep coming up and up and up, and it's all about just raising the energy, will struggle because they will not keep control of their own energy. So yes, the energy can be allowed to rise, and it will naturally, but we must always keep it down. Now, even when a Kundalini awakening happens, it all happens by itself. You don't take the energy up, right? You don't force it up. Cannot be done that way. All we need to do is keep our mind and our attention in the body, centered, balanced. Because, you know, even with meditation, what happens? Your mind wanders. Now, Qigong makes it a bit easier to meditate because you can stand, firstly, you can even keep your eyes open and meditate. So I meditate like this. Now, I do sit down, lay down, close my eyes and do deep meditation. I do recommend that, especially for shadow work, right? But I can be in meditation by simply doing this. My mind with that one breath will sink and the consciousness right down to here. Not only does my mind sink, when my mind sinks from here to here, what happens is I get grounded, I get rooted because I'm pulled closer to the earth. My consciousness and my center of gravity is pulled down. This is what gives us that weighted feeling of being fully fucking present, not being lost, right? Because many people on the spiritual path, they're fucking lost. Because their Shen is up, their Qi is up, everything is up. They're floating in the fucking clouds. They are not grounded. You have to get grounded. And not grounded by take your shoes off and go for. Grounded in your mind. Grounded with your energy right now. So with one breath should take you there. It's done. That's quality of practice. When quality of practice is done in one breath. Now, I teach my students to start with techniques where we just do 10 breaths. Sometimes we repeat those techniques 2 or 3 times. That's it. Because the key is not more techniques. It's not... Now, there's hundreds of techniques I teach students, but I also make it very, very clear you don't need them all. Because if you can do one properly, you're going to be way ahead of someone that knows them all and does them all shit. Right? Because, you know, you can be a jack of all and a master of none. And the idea is to build quality of practice on, you know, just a few foundational techniques. Get the stance right. Get your mind and anchored right with the energy. Then you can start moving your mind to other parts of the body, things like the microcosmic orbit, the macrocosmic orbit. You can bring the mind to the middle dantian to go out of body. And when we go out of body, we connect our mind with the consciousness in this empty space. This space is not empty. It's also full of energy. And when we bring our mind to this energy, it's just as easy as bringing the mind to the energy down here. So we can get out of body just as easily as we can get in the body with just as much ease. Remember, there's no distance between you and your soul apart from the one you've created. Right? So, that's it today. That was the talk. I'm always in flow state, so I can't even remember what I've said, but inner alchemy, that's what I teach, right? Sinking the chi. Bring it down. Keep your energy down. Stay grounded. Stay rooted, right? Start with bringing your mind into your lower dantian, inside, right? Breathe in deep, and with each breath, sink your mind and connect with the energy here. Now, as long as you hold your attention and your awareness there, because remember, it takes intention to shift your mind somewhere. But once your mind is already there, it only takes awareness to cultivate. So you don't need to keep intention here. You only start with intention or intentional practice. Once you start, deep breath, the mind's here, you can do like 10 conscious breaths, for example. With each breath, feel that energy get drawn down. Not drawn up, drawn down with the energy. You'll feel it pull down. You'll feel the energy. If your mind connects with the energy properly, you're going to feel the energy stop here. So this is what I mean. Qi is absolutely very tangible, absolutely real. When you're lower dantian build, now I tell students, most students, you need to cultivate the Qi in your lower belly on a consistent day-to-day basis, like a baby, right, for about 9 months, right? For about 9 months, because that's how long it takes to give birth to your baby, right, in real life, physical life. Now, in Qi-Gong, what we do is we cultivate energy to give birth to our energetic body, and then we cultivate our energetic body to give birth to our spiritual body. So we came into this world from spiritual, energetic to physical. In this life, we practice Kamotion Qi-Gong to give birth to an energetic body. So we actually hold a golden embryo in our belly. We give birth to it, men and women. We have a womb here. And if you put your mind here and you cultivate the energy here, you will give birth to your new self. That's when we then give birth to that energetic body and we live from that perspective. That's when spirit and Qi animates us. Qi, the life force, animates us, right? In everything you do. So, sometimes people ask me, I've had 2 surgeries in the last 6 months, but yet I've still released over 45 music tracks. I've wrote 2 books, right? Still teaching my classes, okay? Yeah, I've taken a break on some other stuff, but the energy is always fucking there, so it's not an effort, right? So the energy is a creative force, so it fuels you. It fuels your life. That's the reason you do it. Okay, it's not just for healing and feeling better. You do it because that is the life force energy that creates life. It brings things into motion. So spirit should be animating your physical body. Your Qi that you cultivate should be animating your physical body. Okay? Now, not only your physical body, your mind too. So it animates your mind. It animates your creativity. It inspires you. Look at the word, inspiration, you're in spirit. Intuition, you have intuition. You're being taught by who? Intuition. Well, by that divine intelligence of the Qi. So the Qi has intelligence. It's not only a very tangible substance, as I've explained, with the magnetic, electrical field, the fire element, water element, sensations, okay, the Batu that I've explained. Not only is it very tangible, it has an intelligence. That is how Qi is able to heal you in mind, body, and spirit, because it has the intelligence. You don't need to tell it what to do. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They think I need to, thank you so much. Yeah, the quick recovery is down to me doing the work. I just stop doing certain things, but most importantly, I focus my mind on preparing my body and healing my body, right? So, most people will take a lot longer to get to where I am, so quickly. And that's all down to, the additional work that I do, not only the physio exercises, but also the additional assisted healing. Because remember, their body will heal. Even your mind will heal. Some people say, oh, time will just heal. It will just heal everything, and we'll just wait 10 years. Everything will be all right, I'll get over that loss. 10 years time. Time will heal it. Yeah, but why not help yourself get there quicker? So this is what we call assisted healing. I might catch a cold. I know I'm going to get okay, all right, quickly. My body's going to deal with colds. I've had infections and all sorts of things, right? My body can get a cut or whatever. It will at some point heal certain things, right? It just needs time. But what allows that healing? You know, for me, when I had my surgery, what allows the healing? Well, the energy. Do I need to tell the energy what to do when I cut my finger? Do I need to like watch it and say, you better fucking heal that cut, you fucking Qi? No. You just allow it. This is what I'm saying, like the Qi cultivation, it doesn't take effort. It just means sitting with it and allowing it and soaking it in. So this way you can just stand there like this, in this position. Start with just 3 or 5 minutes. Stand in this position, knees little slight bend, right? Head up, bones up, flesh down. Don't have any tension in the shoulders, right? You can try this position with the hands more than the middle dantian. But best place for most beginners to start with the hands, the Laogong points pointing inwards. Get your mind with those points of the hand, see like lasers pointing inwards. Okay, get your mind into the body, into that one point. When you've got really good at getting that mind into that one point, you watch the difference. Like when you bring your mind and its attention here, you watch the energy will just rush there. You bring your attention to your third eye. After doing that correctly, you notice a difference to the energy and the level of energy on your third eye. But most people want to rush. They just want to get the energy here now. They want to get the energy here now. They don't want to cultivate first. That's like, as I said, it's like trying to pull the plant out of the pot before it's had time to grow. Not common sense. Don't work like that. You can't just put the seeds in there and say, fucking hell, it's taking too long. Let me pull the plant out. You got to nurture the soil. All down here. That's why the lower chakras are most important, right? They say the root is I am, right? The sacral, I feel. The I do. Solar plexus is all about action. Okay? You're not going to activate this chakra here by taking no action. It's all about action. So people sit there and try to meditate to activate your chakras. You don't fucking understand chakras. Chakras don't activate through meditation. Chakras activate through living. You know, and this is the way you need to understand the difference between chakras and energy centers, right? Okay, much love everyone. So if anyone wants to come and learn more, Thursdays I do the classes every week. We did used to do 2 classes a week. I dropped it down to, it was a bit overwhelming for some people too. But I might step it up to 2 classes again at some point. But there's 1 class every week on a Thursday. It's usually about an hour and a half. Okay, it's a 1-week free trial. Okay, there's over 100 hours. I've ran 87 classes since April last year for the Kamotion Qi-Gong Mastery Commune. So just go to themindermatter.com. There's testimonials on there. There's information on it. There's a whole class you can watch. There's a 1-week free trial. You get access to loads of articles, posts, which back up everything I teach in the classes. So, you know, best way is to come and join a class, you know, if this interests you, you know. But I've given you some guidelines. If anyone joined this later on, go back and watch it. I will post it up on my page. And just watch it from the beginning, okay? I've given you some tips for mastering your mind and your energy. But most important thing is, initially, always get the mind anchored in the body and let the energy cultivate in the body. That's always the best place to start. Right? Qi, when it cultivates and it fills the internal network, the Huang, I call it, the internal network of wet tissue. It's like an internal wetsuit, right? It's malleable, all right? And this is why, like certain shapes and positions we hold, you sit down too long, your body get used to it, okay? It will like that position. You stand up in certain positions a long time, it will like that position. Wherever your body, you know, the shapes and forms that your body gets used to making, it will start liking those positions. So this internal, we're not talking about the bones and the muscles necessarily here. We're talking about the internal network of tissues. This is what soaks in the Qi, and actually the Qi actually mobilizes those internal membranes. So this is why in Qi-Gong we say the Qi moves you. You do not make the Qi move. Right? This is why a lot of people, when they see me doing Qi, moving Qi-Gong, You got to understand, firstly, I've been doing, you know, Wing Chun since I was 14, but Qi-Gong for over 20 years. I started with movements. My movement is very, very different. Initially, a lot of people start with Qi-Gong. It's very lot more robotic kind of movement. The softness, the subtle, that kind of fluidity and motion comes when the Qi moves you. Okay, you can't make that happen. I can't really teach people how to allow the Qi to mobilize them properly. What I can teach people is how to cultivate the Qi and the techniques for preparing the body and the mind to allow it to happen, right? So, you know, the right way to learn Qigong movements is not to copy what someone is doing. It's to copy how they got to there in the first place, right? Okay, so much love. Thank you very much for joining in.